talk about Jayden Daniels and the Washington Commanders right now. The Washington Commanders are 1-1. They just won a game against the New York Giants, and it came down to a game-winning drive by Jayden Daniels. This kid plays the game like he's a veteran quarterback. He has not thrown for a passing touchdown just yet. But don't get it confused. This kid can go out there and he can beat you with his arm. So far, he has 410 passing yards in 2 games. The problem with the Washington Commanders, they don't have guys that can go out there and create separation besides Terry McLaurin. He's the only one. Their number 2 option is Zach Ertz, who is 33 years old. And he's not the same player that he once was with the Philadelphia Eagles. I am worried about that long term. They're going to need Luke McCaffrey to step up, or they're going to need Brown to step up as well. And these are problems the Washington Commanders have been dealing with over the last few years. They haven't been able to find that counterpart to Terry McLaurin. They were hoping that it was going to be Jahan Dotson, but they gave up on that. That kid could not create separation. He could not stretch the field, and he struggled with injuries as well. They traded him to the Philadelphia Eagles. When a division rival trades a player to a team in the division, that tells you how low they think of a player, how low their value is. They just traded him to the Philadelphia Eagles. They say, you know what? You can have him. We'll see him when we see him. He's not a good receiver. He was a bust at that position. They also have another bust on the defensive side. But before I get into the defense, the offensive line has to play better. Sam Howell was the most sacked and most pressured quarterback last season. And the play calling did that kid no favors. Now, with the first 2 games, Cliff Kingsbury does look like a better play caller than Eric Bieniemy. But Eric Bieniemy looked like a very good play caller for the first 2 games as well until they faced the Buffalo Bills. And then everything just spiraled out of control. So I'm going to reserve judgment on Cliff Kingsbury fully, but right now he does look like a solid option. You do want to give this coaching staff more time because it's brand new ownership. You were still rocking out with Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio and Eric Bieniemy last season because there was a lot of turnover from the previous ownership to now. Now you hope that you have your franchise quarterback in Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels will not hold on to the football for too long, and he realized in week 2 against the Giants, if Terry McLaurin is not open and Zach Ertz is not coming across the middle, and he doesn't have a running back and safety option, he's taking off. He had 2 rushing touchdowns against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 1. And you saw what Dan Quinn said, the head coach. He wants to see Jayden Daniels throw the football more. He doesn't want to see him go back there and just run all the time. Well, the offensive line protection has to be better, and receivers have to get open. He's not just going to stay back there and just take hits and throw the football away. He didn't even do that at LSU. This kid can be an elite passer in this league, but they need better weapons around him, and the offensive line protection has to be better as well. This offensive line has been terrible for years. They're trying to work and get things going into the right direction, but it is going to take some time. One saving grace with Jayden Daniels, he has elite pocket presence. He's able to get inside and outside the pocket, and I also look from this standpoint as well. He has tried to throw the football to Terry McLaurin. He's not forcing it. He's threw the football into tight windows to Zach Ertz. He has the ability to do that. But when he sees a rusher or 2 in his face that's around him, he's going to take off. Not necessarily go out there and scramble. He's going to try to be a playmaker for the Washington Commanders. Similar to how RG3 was before he started to deal with those major injuries. And I do believe right now he's a better passer in this stage of his career than RG3 was as a rookie. One thing that set these guys apart besides the passing, Jayden Daniels is not as reckless as RG3. He was just taking hits. Now, Jayden Daniels did take a mean, nasty hit in the New York Giants game by 2 defenders, but he got right back up. He continued to play the game. He led them to a game-winning drive. And guess what happened 2 plays later? He ran, but he ran out of bounds. He's learning from that. It's a learning curve to this. He is still a rookie. So far, out of all the rookie quarterbacks, he has looked the best because of his athleticism. And that read option with him and Austin Eckler or him and Brian Robinson Jr. is going to be hard to stop over the next couple of years. Jayden Daniels and Austin Eckler is a very good duo to watch in the backfield, and the same with Brian Robinson Jr. as well. That is one of the saving graces of this offense, with Terry McLaurin getting off to a slow start. He only has 8 catches for 39 yards in the last 2 games. And Terry McLaurin is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Besides his rookie season, he's put up over 1,000 yards every single season in his career, catching the football from many of quarterbacks, from Alex Smith, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Sam Howell, Taylor Heineke. He's a phenomenal guy to have. I'm just worried about the other pieces around him. Luke McCaffrey has shown signs that he could go out there and he could be good here and there. You look at Brown as well. I'm not as high on him. They just need more receiving help. They need an offensive overhaul. So hopefully they can go out there by the trade deadline, bring a guy in, or in the next couple of weeks, one of these young guys can step up to help out Jayden Daniels. But so far, so good. I like the offensive philosophy. You just really care about this if you're the Commanders. And I'm not trying to be harsh here. This is not a team that's going to make the NFL playoffs. I don't see them going out there and beating the Dallas Cowboys on a repeated basis. I don't see them going out there and competing with the Philadelphia Eagles on a repeated basis either. That can happen, but right now I don't think that there are a playoff contending team. You just care about how does Jayden Daniels look. We selected this kid in the first round. We moved off of Sam Howell. We hope that we could take better care of this kid than we did with Sam Howell, and we can build around him. In the next 2 to 3 years, hopefully the Washington Commanders can be a franchise that is headed into the right direction. And I do believe that they're still dealing with some carryover from the previous ownership, so this is going to take time. I know Commander fans don't want to hear this, but you have to be patient. At least you're going to see a lot of fun things. Last year, Sam Howell was very wild with the football, but you got some crazy plays out of it. You're going to see a lot of crazy things with Jayden Daniels as well, behind the pocket, making guys miss, throwing the football on a dime. We have seen some of that against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, some of that against the New York Giants. It's going to be some low points as well. But right now, they're coming off their strong win. When I look at the defense, Cleveland Farrell has 2 sacks. That's a win. He's playing alongside Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen. And we all know that may be the best interior defensive line duo in the NFL. Both of those guys can push the pocket. They can stop the run. You also have Johnny Newton as well. Be on the lookout for that. They drafted him out of Illinois. If he can stay healthy, he could possibly go out there and take one of those defensive tackle spots. They could trade one of those guys away for a high draft pick. We'll see about that. Dorrance Armstrong has not done much yet. He's been dealing with an injury, but we know what he was able to do last season with the Dallas Cowboys. He has 7.5 sacks. The linebackers, they're solid. Frankie Louvu, I can't say enough good things about him. He was Mr. Consistent with the Panthers. He's not a great linebacker. He's not a top 10 there, but he's consistent. Every single game, he's going to give you the most. He can go out there, put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. He can make plays in space. He can cover the running back out the backfield. You also have a good veteran in Bobby Wagner who fits the system with Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn was a former defensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. You're starting to see how he can go out there and line guys up. So far in the first 2 games, the front 7 has done a solid job. It's that secondary that's an issue. Their secondary is not good, even with the new play call adjustments by Dan Quinn. Now, Dan Quinn is a defensive mastermind. He did a lot of good things with the Dallas Cowboys. He did a lot of good things with the Seattle Seahawks. He's not a bad coach. He even helped the Atlanta Falcons go to a Super Bowl when he was the head coach. That's a Super Bowl they blew the 28-3 lead to the Patriots. The less said about that, the better if you are a Falcons fan or even a Dan Quinn fan. But when you look at this secondary, their best player in their secondary at the cornerback position is Benjamin St-Juste. That's their best player. Benjamin. Not Emmanuel Forbes, not Mike coming out of Michigan. Now, Mike has looked bad in the first 2 games. He's only a rookie. Give him time. Emmanuel Forbes is a bust. I'm done with Emmanuel Forbes. It's the way this kid is getting beat over top. He is terrible. He was horrible last season. He got benched. Look, they should have went with Christian Gonzalez, but they didn't. You can't go back in time and make up for your mistake. But they can learn from this. He just doesn't work in the NFL. Maybe they could trade him to a different team. I'm out on Emmanuel Forbes. Hopefully he can make me eat my words. But it seems like every single time he's on the field, he is giving up a big play. He isn't good in man coverage. He doesn't have good play recognition. And he just lost on the field. He just doesn't know what the hell is going on, especially in red zone situations. You can't have this kid on the field. Even if your top cornerbacks are out, you want to throw him out there, quarterbacks are going to pick on him until he can play better. He hasn't even had one good game in the NFL. We've seen rookies in the past that have struggled. At least they have a good game here and there. And they switch sides. They put him on the left side. They put him on the right side. And he cannot guard anyone in the slot either because that's not his game. That's not what he did at Mississippi State. Sometimes you just miss on a player. And I feel like they just missed on this kid right here. He's just not a good cornerback to have. So I look at the rest of the secondary. As long as he's not on the field, you're going to be winning. I'm sorry to say it. You're going to be in a better situation when he's not on the field. I like what Noah can do with the team. He's a former player for the Dallas Cowboys and for the Miami Dolphins as well. I think he can go out there and he can give you better snapping. He can give you better production than Emmanuel Forbes. And even the rest of the guys in the secondary, they're not world beaters, but they're better than Emmanuel Forbes. The safeties, I think they're heading to the right direction there. I like Jeremy Chin a lot. He hasn't done much over the last couple of years because his snaps were cut short with the Carolina Panthers. But those first 2 seasons were something amazing to look at and something great to see, especially on film. He was a game record. With that being said, like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, none of that stuff really matters because you're still a rebuilding team. You just care about the connection with Jayden Daniels and the wide receivers, and will he be able to make it out this season? I think right now, out of all the quarterbacks, he is the best rookie quarterback. He's in a tough situation. He only has one receiver that can really get open. The offensive line is still abysmal. He got sacked 5 times against the New York Giants, and if he did not have the speed that he has, he would have easily got sacked 8 to 9 times in that game. And he's not a quarterback that's going to run his stuff into pressure. He's actually patient behind the line of scrimmage. He doesn't try to take off and run every single play. I do believe the Washington Commanders are heading into the right direction. They are going to be a team that may have one of the worst records in the NFL this season, but we will see. But it's a lot of positive things to look out for. I really like the running backs with Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler, and I love me some Terry McLaurin. And I do think that Jayden Daniels will be a star. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you guys feel about the Washington Commanders? And will Jayden Daniels be the franchise quarterback that they have been looking for since really RG3? You could say Kirk Cousins was good there. He was. They kept franchise tagging him year after year after year. They didn't really have that much faith in him. And they even made the NFL playoffs with Kirk Cousins. And they ultimately lost to the Green Bay Packers. So he gave them a lot of successful moments. So I will say this. Do you guys believe that Jayden Daniels can be as good as Kirk Cousins or even better than Kirk Cousins with the Washington Commanders moving forward? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.